Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Usually I'm a little bit more of a first-person shooter video game player, but I recently have been playing a lot of Switch games, and Animal Crossing New Horizons just came out earlier today, and I have been playing for the last few hours, and wanted to give you guys some tips from what I've learned on the first day. I've been a pretty avid Animal Crossing player, or fan, I should say, since Animal Crossing City Folk came out for the Wii. If you guys aren't familiar with Animal Crossing, I definitely suggest you check it out. Maybe watch a little bit of YouTube videos on the game before you decide to buy it. Just because buying any game, you need to do a little research as to whether or not you want to spend that amount of money on the game. But for me, it was a no-brainer. I had to get this game and play it, and I've probably been playing it now for about 4 hours or so, and I feel like I've kind of am satisfied with where I am for the day. I'll give you a quick little summary of sort of what happened today, and a little bit summary of what I did, as well as some tips as to how to kind of navigate this new Animal Crossing. There's when I first started the game, there's a lot of intro things going on as to you got to meet with Tom Nook's, I'm assuming sons, and they take you to this island, and you can kind of choose your island layout. From what I understood, I chose a certain layout, and you can see it in that bottom right corner there. That's the layout I chose. There's 3 other different layouts. To me, there was no real benefit for either one. In this one right now, I'm a little secluded as because you can see those 2 rivers are coming down, and so I'm kind of stuck in that middle part because for day 1, I don't think you're given the tools to really cross rivers unless I'm just that far behind, but I really don't think I am. So I would suggest it doesn't really matter. Pick one of the islands that fits you most, that you like, and just run with that. I don't think there's any difference really between the two. Pretty much to start off the day, you after picking your island, you give your name and a few other details that you have to give Tom Nook and his parents just to kind of set up the game for you. But after you're done with that, then you make it to this point, which is the airport point, which in my game it's actually, I guess, under construction right now. So once you get on it, they have to wait to build it. Usually there's several things take a day or 2 to build, so this is one of them. But from my understanding, you can buy certain tickets to go to other people's islands, and this can be beneficial just to go to other people's islands because of a lot of the materials that you can gather. You can only gather as many materials from your island as your island has. So once you run out of those materials, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, rocks, which are a pretty big deal. Once you run out of materials, you can't get any more. So going once a day to somebody's else's island and visiting it would be a good way not only to make friends in the game, but also to be able to maximize the amount of resources you can get per day. So once you get here, basically Tom gives you a little tent. You can choose to set it up wherever. Personally, I chose to set up my tent right over here in this little corner because this was a nice little beach area here, and I felt like, this could be my own little private beach, and I've already set up a little things that I've crafted. But yeah, so this is my tent at the moment. I have crafted a few things, a few furniture things, and yeah, you can see I don't have too much going on over here. Just a radio, my bed, things of that nature. So it's not really too impressive at the moment. But so once you set up your tent, Tom will ask you for these things called Nook Miles. And so there's two forms of currency, I guess, in the game. One is bells, which if you've played Animal Crossing, you're familiar with that. You can sell fish, shells, anything like that that you've captured, bugs, fruit, all kinds of things. You can sell them to the Nook family, and they'll give you bells for it, which you can then use at their shops to buy certain things that you want, whether it's decorative or whether it's functional, things like that. So for the most part, the gameplay is pretty similar. You can see I'm going to go in here and talk to Timmy, and he's just going to ask, how can I help you? And I'm just going to say, sure, I'll sell, and you can kind of choose what you want to sell. So I'm just going to sell some of these things that I've been catching while I've been talking and get a few bells. So this is the form of currency that I'm most familiar with that was in the last game. But in this new game, you're given a smartphone, and the smartphone has an app called Nook Miles, kind of like a rewards system for airline miles. And basically, the more things you do and experiment in the game, the more Nook Miles you get. And the Nook Miles you can use at this thing in this is called the service center. I think it's called the service center. You can use the Nook Miles in this thing called an ATM, or I guess the Nook Stop. Basically, it looks like an ATM. They give you a few different things. This ABD is like a banking service, so you can deposit however much money you want in there. You can type it in or click full amount, doesn't matter. Boom, and you have a savings balance, and that'll be good for paying off your first house, which again I can probably ramble on for hours, but I was trying to make this video somewhat short, so anyways, so there's several different services. The Nook Shopping mostly seems like decorative items in here. I've bought a few of these things already, just for the heck of it, to be honest. I believe I've bought the loafers, the shirts, the shades. I haven't bought the hat. Oh, okay. So I've already ordered 5 things. So anyways, that's just Nook Shopping. Those go with bells. Those all cost bells. And then the last thing you can do at the Nook Stop is redeem your Nook Miles, which your Nook Miles... actually, I should probably introduce that first. Nook Miles is the newest thing in this game. That's the biggest difference, which is basically if you press ZL, then on a Switch controller, then it brings up your phone interactive menu, and you have all these different apps, and some of these you have to gain while doing things. Most of these should be given to you on your first day if you just follow Tom's directions. Usually during the game setup, if you have anything or really don't know where the game's progressing, if you go to Tom and click on it, he'll tell you usually what's happening or what's big, or what you should be doing. So Nook Miles, right? So these are certain challenges that you can do, and they're kind of simple things like here, island togetherness, right? So basically, you go around if you talk to your neighbors, because you come to the island with 2 other Animal Crossing people as well. If you talk to your neighbors once a day, that counts, and you'll get Nook Miles. So I've done quite a few of these. As you find more things that count as Nook Miles, then you'll unlock the challenges per se, I guess. So like if you catch a tin can when you're fishing, then you'll unlock the trash fishing section in the Nook Miles. And then if I catch 3 pieces of trash, then I'll get rewarded with Nook Miles. And Nook Miles are, again, the only way you can use them is just to redeem them at the Nook Stop here. Now, these do have important things, and this is, if you take anything from this video, this is probably the biggest tip. I've already bought 2 things from here. Again, some of these are decorative things, and I'm sure as I play the game more, I'm gonna want these things. But for right now, they have all of these different special things, right? And some of these are silly hairstyles, stylish, right? There's an app, right? So you can press X for details. Um, and then this right here is probably the most important thing. So this is what allows you to go to other people's islands and visit other islands, specifically for since you have a kind of a cap on the amount of resources you can get from your island each day. This is going to be particularly useful because you can go to someone else's island and kind of get some of their fruits. Also, usually each island will only grow one fruit. My island happens to be oranges. If I take oranges to a different city, I can usually sell those fruits at a different city, or at a different island, I guess, for more money because it's rarer there. So those are going to be pretty useful. I'm going to pretty much always try to have one of these and go somewhere each day. But again, I don't know what the limitations are. Right now, I decided not to buy them quite yet because the airport. I went to the airport and they said they were still under construction. But there were two things that I did buy here. There was one that cost me 5,000, and I believe the other one cost me 3,000 Nook points. So the 3,000 Nook points one was called it was like a DIY project. So a big thing in this game is making basically kind of like a crafting table, similar to Minecraft, and it's found in this same place that the Tom and his son Timmy are at. So you go to this workbench, you go, let's craft, right? So if you buy from the shop, if you buy this thing that's 3,000 Nook points, called I think it's called six tools, or 5 or 3 tools that are like way more durable than the ones that have flimsy in front of them. So flimsy watering can, let's see, flimsy net, flimsy fishing rod, and flimsy axe. These things have a really limited use on them. So this flimsy net, you can probably catch, I think from what I've discovered, around 5 to 6 different bugs, or not different, but 5 to 6 bugs in total before it breaks. And then you got to recraft it. Luckily, these two are very easily crafted. Same with this, and this can be easily crafted once you have this. And you have to unlock the templates for the items before you can actually build them. So if you select one of them, it shows you all the different things you have to have in order to get an axe. So, but buying the $3,000 DIY project, I'll call it a folder, I guess, gives you this shovel template, this net template, this fishing rod template, and then the axe template. And these are way more durable than these are. Again, I haven't actually used them, but my assumption is you would probably have about 3 to 5 times as much durability as these do, because the whole point of the game is not to have to recraft a bug net or a fishing rod after catching 5 fish or 5 bugs. That's not the point of the game. It's just something that you have to kind of work towards to get these better upgraded items, so you don't always have to rebuild these after they break. And there's all sorts of different things you can craft in here. So my first suggestion would be for people in the Nook store to get enough Nook miles first to pay off Tom for your tent and your fees, which I believe is 5,000 Nook miles, and then after that, you should try to get enough Nook miles to buy the DIY project. I'll call it the folder, I guess, of all the more durable tools that you can build. So that would be my first biggest tip, is really focus on the miles during your first day. So yeah, I'll call that tip number 1, I guess, is focus on getting miles, and pay off your $5,000 miles debt to Tom Nook for your tent, and then the cost of moving to the island. Second thing I would do on your first day is then buy the tools, the Unbreakable Tools thing with, I think, 3,000 or 5,000 miles. The next thing I would do would be, there's another Nook Miles thing that you should buy, which I'll call that tip number 3. And that would be to buy there's 2 separate things on here that are like tips. They're called essential tips. So one of which is what's called a tool reel, and that's 800 Nook Miles. And basically it allows you to swap between your tools rather than having to go to your pocket. It allows you easy access to swap for your tools, or swap between tools. So rather than having to manually go into your pocket by pressing X and then flipping through and selecting this one to switch and then hold, right? So now I just switched. That's the old way. If you get the new reel, you press up on the D-pad and it gives you this little wheel of things that you can go around, and it's just your tools. So you can switch pretty easily back and forth. In case you see a bug before it disappears, you can switch fast and then try to grab it. The next most important thing on there is the last most important thing to buy on here, the Nook Miles, is they call it like an extended pocket. I think this one was 3,000 or 5,000. I'm a little short of the prices. Okay, I think a moth spawns outside of the tent every single time you go in and go out of it. So if you need moths, oh, there you go. So you can see my flimsy net was broken. Extended pocket. The extended pocket expands your pocket from previously only being 2 lines to being 3 lines, which gives you a ton of extra more space. Again, this is probably one of the last things you should worry about on your first day, but if you're trying to complete a lot of challenges for Nook Miles, which involve catching fish and getting bugs and carrying a lot of things, carrying a lot of tools and things like that, then it might not be a bad idea to go ahead and buy that extra pocket space so you don't have to continually go back to sell items to make space for carrying more essential things. Again, tip number 5, the last tip of the day, I'll say, is don't destroy your rocks. So I made this mistake. I placed my house, or my tent, I should say, as well as someone else's tent on 2 rocks, which automatically destroyed them. Now, rocks are really important for building those upgraded tools. Those 4 upgraded tools that you get from using your Nook Miles to buy those DIY, I guess, templates, they require iron ore, which you can only get stone or iron ore by hitting rocks with either an axe or a shovel. Again, I don't have a shovel yet. I'm assuming that I'll come to that tomorrow, and I'll let you guys know how to get a shovel. But yeah, so definitely don't destroy your rocks. The way that you do destroy rocks is by hitting it 3 times, and then the 4th time you hit it, nothing will pop out and you'll destroy the rock completely. Now, from what I researched, the rocks only respawn, I believe you're supposed to have 5 or 6 rocks on your island, and rocks only respawn at random places at 1 rock a day. So if you, like me, destroyed all of your rocks that you can reach on this part of my island, which was 3 of them, now I have to wait. Tomorrow there should be another rock, but it's only going to be 1 rock. So I'll have to basically wait 3 more days for all 3 of those rocks to come back. Again, kind of a pain and puts a damper on the amount of resources I can actually get, which is unfortunate. But yeah, definitely do not destroy your rocks on the first day. Keep your rocks because they're going to be necessary. All of those upgraded tools, the upgraded fishing net, the rod, the axe, and the watering can, all of them require iron ore or iron ingots maybe. and the only way you can get those is by using an axe or a shovel to hit a rock. So if you don't have rocks, you can't get those. Let's see. I don't believe there's any more pointers I have for day 1. But yeah, day 1, pretty much the goals would just be to pay off your 5,000 miles, buy those few essential things from the shop with extra miles, and again, most of these easy miles you can get by simply planting trees, planting flowers, fishing, catching bugs, and usually there's tons of weeds around here. You can see on this other part of the island, you see all those leaves right across the river here that I can't get to. But if you pick all those, again, you'll get a few Nook miles, and you can actually sell those as well for bells. But I believe that's it. Those are all the tips I have for you for day 1. Again, it's a lot of kind of boring. No, I wouldn't call it boring. I find it interesting, but it's a lot of trying to just get those last setup things done. Sorry, I gotta focus. Hitting these things are annoying as crap. What? Oh, let's go. Okay. Those things are frustrating to hit. I'm sorry. I got distracted. But, yeah, just focus on getting those few things done. Again, I'll try to summarize. So, well, hopefully, yeah. You guys should already remember what I said. But, again, just focus on paying off those 5,000 miles. Buy those few essential things from the Nook stop inside this Tom's tent. And then, yeah, you can kind of go wherever you want from there. That's pretty much all you can do the first day that really progresses the game. The farthest I can get right now is I've bought a house and a loan with Tom for 98,000 bells, but I have to wait a day for my tent right here to be changed into a house. So I really can't do anything until tomorrow. Also, I don't have any rocks. But yeah, that's it for right now. I would like to make more videos with this stuff. Animal Crossing is definitely a game that I enjoy at the moment. But yeah, if just let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys later. Peace.